Hey everybody, this is a little intro thing that I'm recording after I've already recorded the rest of the video, but I wanted to just throw this in here just to say this video is kind of a rambly type of video. I'm just kind of throwing things out. I had a bit of a plan about what I was going to talk about going into it, but I kind of lost where I was going with it, and just kind of went off on a tangent, but I felt like it was actually pretty good, and so I'm uploading it, but there will be links in the description to a bunch of different things that you can check out, that I don't even like. I mentioned some of them in the video, but not all of them. But um, if you check in the description, there will be links to all of the articles that I mentioned today. I like to do that whenever I kind of talk about sources and stuff, so I'll link to a bunch of different things down there. I'm also including links to some of the charities and groups that the Activision-Blizzard workers have been promoting for the past couple of weeks as a part of like their walkout. So I have not included all of them. I talked about this kind of late in the video, that if there are more that you want me to include, or there's some that I forgot, please let me know in the comments so I can include them. I kind of rushed to get the list together when I put it together the first time, and I just haven't had the... I keep forgetting to go back through and finishing it. So that's in the description if you want to check it out. But yeah, I just want to do this little intro thing. But yeah, here's the video. Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Today I wanted to talk a bit about some of the recent kind of news and fallout that we've seen as a result of the Activision-Blizzard lawsuit. Obviously I talked about this a couple weeks ago. I was pretty MIA for a little while after that, but we've seen things kind of develop and change over time, and we've seen some news come out. So I haven't talked about it in a little while, so I wanted to kind of talk about some of the things we've seen. And I wanted to talk a bit about some of the news around the Overwatch League itself, as well as just kind of Blizzard entertainment in general. So to start, let's focus on the Overwatch League, because I know that's what most of you who are fans of this channel are more interested in. So there's obviously been various different stories to come out about all of this in terms of, donations that we saw from the Houston Outlaws Washington Justice series, the Overwatch League donating as well, and just kind of personalities and stuff having their own say in things. But just kind of looking at the business side of things, what we've seen with the league as a whole. There was the news that came last week, and has just developed over time, that many of the sponsors for the Overwatch League and the Call of Duty League have dropped their sponsorship. The first one was T-Mobile. They were the big one. They dropped them. So we've seen their branding removed from broadcasts, from team jerseys, from all of that type of stuff. T-Mobile pulling out. And then we saw the news that Coca-Cola, they didn't drop out, but they are kind of reassessing, and they're potentially going to drop out. And then you kind of look more recently, and we see things like Cheez-It Grooves and Pringles, IBM, and State Farm all dropping the sponsorship. So in a recent kind of development, when you go to the website now, when they show kind of their partners, it's it's pretty small now. They have a major drop off in terms of who they used to have. They used to have all these they had a ton of sponsors originally, and now it's just Xfinity, Coca-Cola, TeamSpeak. That's it. There's the only companies that are still sponsoring the league. When you go and you look back, there's so many more teams and so many more companies, right? You think back, to the previous, bits of stuff with the Overwatch League. They had a ton more sponsors. A bunch of them have dropped. So it's been interesting to see kind of what's happening. And we're also seeing just kind of changes to some of the way that we've seen the approaches to the broadcast. There was news that I've seen recently. I've not been watching the broadcast as much recently just because I've been super busy. But it has been brought to my attention, and of course I've seen it on Twitter, that Brennan's Sideshow no longer say the name of McCree, because the hero is named after a Blizzard employee who was involved in the... I don't know if he was named in the lawsuit, but he was involved in the kind of infamous Cosby suite that is at Activision-Blizzard, and that was happening during BlizzCon and stuff like that. He was one of the people kind of associated with the main people named in the lawsuit, and so That's the type of thing where I see that and I say that's a huge decision to make, and I think a good step to make to kind of erase some of the names of some of these people. I've always been on that train. I've always been on board with that. I've stopped using names for a lot of different people. The 2019 MVP, the two previous Boston Uprising players, some previous Contenders players. I have no plans on speaking the names of any of the people who were involved in this lawsuit, so our good old Cowboy Hero is the Cowboy Hero now. That's his name for me going forward. And so it'll be interesting to kind of see what changes, but it's very interesting because when you think about the fact that the company has really been struggling with these lawsuits and stuff, it's very interesting to me to look at, because you would think that if Blizzard were doing really, really well, they would want to kind of make a lot of... They'd be hesitant to make changes. But when you look at their earnings, which is something that I've seen more recently, and I'll link to all of these things in the description, but you'll see a little picture show up on screen. This comes from a Reddit post, but basically the title is, in 4 years, Blizzard has lost almost half of its monthly active users, going from 46 million to 26 million monthly active users. And this was revealed during the latest earning call. And as you can see in this picture, right, Overwatch releases, quarter in 2016, they hit a bit of a peak. They dropped down a bit after a little while, then they jumped back up in 2017. And then they've just been on this decline ever since. They plateau in 2020 when a lot of games were getting a lot more people playing. And they've been on a decline ever since. And so when you look at the company, it's very clear that they're not doing well. And I think a lot of that has come down to decisions that we've seen in the past. The Hong Kong decision, I think a lot of people were not happy with. And I think that hurt their image a lot. And then now this is hurting their image even more. And we're just seeing an incredible just decline. People have lost interest in the company because of the leadership and the decisions made by that leadership. And of course, we've now seen changes to the leadership with the former president stepping down, and two new people coming in. I believe it's Jen O'Neill and I don't remember the name of the other person. But we see these kind of changes, right? Where, the former president steps down. Now Jen O'Neill and Mike Ibarra, that's his name, come in to co-lead the company. We still don't see the overall change when it comes to Activision-Blizzard as a whole. And Blizzard Entertainment now has these two leaders, but the overall head of Activision-Blizzard is still in power, and until he goes, who knows if anything will change, and if he goes, he may not actually ever leave. But we're seeing that this is a very, very, very bad kind of period of time for the company, and I think some of it, there's a lot of reasons for it. I think you can't just look at this and say that the only reason for it is the kind of controversies. They haven't had a new game released since Overwatch, right? Like, Blizzard has not had a new release, and they've had expansions for WoW. But when you look at that, if you paid attention when I showed the kind of monthly earnings thing, or the monthly active users thing, it was Overwatch, it was the last new release, and then it was 3 WoW expansions. That's it. They're not releasing any games, and so no one's playing anything that they release that's new. People are leaving games, and we've seen more games coming out and more people wanting to play other things. And it's at the point where, like, the idea of Blizzard as a company, right? Like, their entire identity is just collapsing. The entire company's infrastructure and ecosystem and quote-unquote culture that they preached and believed in has collapsed. One, because it's a terrible workplace, as revealed through all of these lawsuits. But not even that. They're not releasing anything. So no one's playing any games because they're not putting anything out for people to play. And so people are just going to play other things. And it's the type of thing where this is a company that has been just living off of their name for so long. We're Blizzard. People will keep playing our games, and now it's coming out how awful the culture in the company is and how awful the environment is. And it's just like, you watch this and you say, this is a development studio that had so much. Their ego was so massive that they felt like it was impossible for them to collapse. It was impossible for them to go down. It was impossible for them to not be the incredible kind of juggernauts of the gaming industry that they were. And very clearly that's not true. People don't want to play their games anymore because they're not putting anything out, and they're making poor decisions as a company, from the business side of things. And then now we know that their culture has been terrible for years and years and years. They're no longer really doing things that seem like they are kind of ahead of other companies. They really seem like they're falling behind everybody in the gaming industry. So you're falling behind in terms of how you're doing things. You're falling behind in terms of releasing games. You're falling behind in terms of your culture, not necessarily, excluding the harassment. You're falling behind in terms of like your philosophy. You're not releasing things. You have battle passes in games. Blizzard has none of that. Overwatch doesn't have a battle pass. But you know what does? Fortnite and Valorant and Apex Legends and these games that are getting consistent, constant updates. Games that are free to play that people want to play more. They just now added crossplay to Overwatch. The game still isn't free, so no one wants to go in and play it. People will always say, if you go to free to play, it hurts your game. Like you don't make money, whatever. Look at Rocket League, which recently, it's been several months now, but Rocket League for the longest time was a game you had to buy. The game went free to play, and its active monthly users skyrocketed because people want to play your game. You're not going to get users when people can, they either have to pay to play this game or they can go play these other games that are free that they can play with their friends, right? The addition of crossplay, great, fantastic. It makes it so that people who have a PlayStation can play with their friends that have PC or Switch or Xbox. That's really good, and that's really nice, and that's really helpful. But if they have to buy the game, how are they going to play it? And so Blizzard has just been so behind on everything. And I've been someone to kind of be a little bit more lenient on them. But I was wrong, because it's very clear that their decisions have not been working. And now they're just at a point where they've just been holding on to something that isn't true. And they've been holding on to this idea that they are Blizzard, they're this great company, but they are an embarrassment in every sense of the word. Every sense of the word. They are right now the laughingstock of the gaming industry because they are doing things poorly from the way they make their games and the way that they've created their culture. This company needs so many changes to everything about the studio, and it is wild to me that they have managed to let things get this bad. I don't know how Bobby Kotick is still in charge of this company when they are very clearly on a very rapid decline. Getting rid of some of the other leadership made sense. I'm pretty sure the reason why Mike Morhaime was kind of pushed out was because he was trying to keep Blizzard from going down a path that would not have been profitable. And maybe it didn't really matter. Maybe Mike Morhaime set this up and they've been trying to recover and they've just been unable to. Who knows? But it is such a weak company to look at right now. And you just look at everything, like they are just so awful, right? And when you look at everything that's gone on, it's no wonder why, like, the company is struggling. Because the culture was bad, and the overall products were not regular enough or supported enough to last. And so, for me, I just kind of look at all this and I'm just like, this is just such a wild thing to look at. And I'm really upset with everything that's come out because it just, from every perspective, from every angle, Activision-Blizzard has failed they failed their employees with the way that they treated them. They failed their investors by literally just making decisions that lost them money. And they failed their fans by not giving them anything. And so they have just continued to just dig their own grave with every decision they make. And it seems like it's going to come at the cost of some things that people actually enjoy, like their esports. Right? They're losing sponsors, which means their esports leagues may not be able to function next season. Like, I feel, as someone who has been making videos on the Overwatch League now for 3 years, I feel like this is the first time I'm like, oh, I don't actually know what I'm doing in the off season. And it's something that I've been so just kind of like concerned about when I think about it, because I don't know if there's going to be an Overwatch League next season. And do I feel like continuing to put my eggs in this basket of making videos about the Overwatch League when there's a possibility it won't exist in 6 months, in 3 months, in, who knows? And, hopefully we see meaningful change at the top of the organization, where not just the 2 new co-leads at Blizzard, which I think is a good first step, but it is a first step. It's not the end all. They need to do better to make sure that this culture that they have created is gone, and they need to make sure that they stop kind of highlighting the people who were involved in the horrible, horrible things that they did within the company. But the fact that the company has gotten to this point is just such an embarrassment. And like Blizzard, what they were, what they represented, what they kind of claimed to be, just fell apart because of hubris and ego and thinking that they were so much better than everybody else, when the reality is they're not. Like, they're not. They're just any old video game studio at this point in time, that are carried by their name and nothing more, that act like they're this high and mighty group because everybody knows our name because we're Blizzard Entertainment. It's like, well, what have you done? Like, what have you actually put out to make us go like, oh, you know what? Yeah, you are Blizzard, and we're excited about your games. And we're excited about the content you've given us. Because I can tell you I have not been excited about the things they've been putting out. Overwatch is great. I love Overwatch. But, like, what have they done with it in the past year? Nothing. I mean, crossplay was cool. But, like, that's it. What else have they done? So that's just kind of my 2 cents on this whole thing. I figured this video should be kind of me rambling. So, it is what it is. But I'm going to get out of here for this one. So if there's something I talked about today that resonated with you, any topic that I brought up that you wanted to bring up as well, comment down below. Have a nice discussion about it. Obviously, this is a very serious topic, so discussion is potentially not going to be had, but, it could be a constructive discussion, or it could not. Who knows at this point in time. But that's all for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I have a link in the description. I mentioned it at the beginning with the intro that I did, but I have a link in the description. I've been putting it in my recent videos to a bunch of the charities that the Activision-Blizzard workers had been promoting, and I'm going to try to include more over time. I think there's a couple that I excluded just because I was in a rush getting the list together when I put it together the first time. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to make sure I add more. But if you can donate to any of these resources, and you can look at these charities and donate to any of them, that would be incredible. You don't have to, of course, but if you have the means to and you want to, please consider doing it. RAIN is a great charity that does a lot of great work. There's also, Futures Without Violence and Girls Who Code and Black Girls Code. There's a lot of really great things going on with a lot of these groups, and I think that it is a very good thing to look at. So there's a link in the description if you want to check any of those out. Like I said, I'm going to try to find more over time. If there's any that you know about as well, I will ask all of you. If you know about any that I did not include, please let me know, and I will include them, because I know there's some that were talked about that did not end up there. So, yeah, but that's it for me. I hope you're all staying safe, you're all staying healthy, and until next time, bye-bye.